Good evening, listeners. My name is EveningWhisperTales. Tonight, I'll be telling you some scary horror stories to help you relax and fall asleep. If you enjoy this channel, I'd really appreciate it if you like and subscribe. Now, let's begin our evening together. Story 1. The farmhouse that learned my routine. I moved into the farmhouse in early autumn, the kind of place that looks peaceful from a distance. Wide fields, tall grass, woods stretching far behind the house. The nearest neighbor lived miles away. That was exactly what I wanted. The first week was quiet, the second week too quiet. I began to notice small things. The porch light was always off when I came home, even if I remembered leaving it on. The back door sometimes felt warmer than the rest of the house, as if someone had recently touched it. At night, the woods behind the farmhouse came alive, not with animals, with movement. I would hear footsteps stopping just beyond the tree line, never crossing into the field, never approaching the house, always waiting, every night at the same time, 2:17 a.m. I started staying awake to listen. When I did, the footsteps stayed far away. When I fell asleep, they came closer. I learned this slowly, through exhaustion, through fear. One night, I pretended to sleep. I kept my breathing slow and deep. The footsteps crossed the field, soft, careful. The porch creaked under weight that didn't belong to any animal. Something stood outside my bedroom wall. I felt it listening, matching my breathing. When I opened my eyes, everything stopped. The next morning, I found footprints around the house. Bare, human, they stopped at every window. After that, the farmhouse changed. Doors felt heavier, rooms felt smaller. The house began to anticipate me. Lights turned off before I reached them. Floors creaked before I stepped. It wasn't just something outside anymore. On the first night of winter, the footsteps didn't stop at the porch. They walked inside, slowly, comfortably. I stayed very still. In the morning, the house was silent again, but the chair across from my bed had been moved closer. I left the farmhouse that day. I never went back. Sometimes when I lie awake at night, I can still feel the house breathing, waiting for me to return. Story 2. The night shift rule I broke. I work security at a building that officially doesn't exist. No signs, no listings, just concrete and glass in the middle of nowhere. I was given 3 rules on my first night. Do not answer phones after midnight. Do not look at the monitors between 3 and 3:15. Do not leave your desk until sunrise. I followed them for months. Nothing happened. Then one night, the phone rang at 3:12. I stared at it, let it ring. The monitors flickered. I kept my eyes down. The phone rang again. I answered it. No voice, just breathing. Slow, familiar. The monitors turned on by themselves. Every screen showed the same image. Me, sitting at my desk, but my reflection was smiling. The breathing on the phone matched the movement on the screen. Perfectly. I hung up. The lights dimmed. The building felt closer. A voice came from behind me. You weren't supposed to see that yet? I didn't turn around. The screens went dark at 3:15. The phone stopped ringing. Nothing else happened that night. Management said nothing showed up in the logs. They reminded me of the rules. I still work the night shift. I follow the rules again. But every night at 3:12, I feel something standing behind me, smiling, waiting for me to answer the phone again. Story 3. The night shift at the radio station. I work alone at a small radio station outside the city. The night shift runs from midnight until sunrise. No callers, no visitors, just me and the equipment. Around 1 a.m., I received a call. No number, just static. Then a voice. It knew my name. It asked me to play a song that didn't exist. I told myself it was a prank, but when I searched the station's database, the song was already queued. I didn't remember adding it. When it played, the lights dimmed. The building felt smaller. The caller rang again, thanked me, then asked me to lock the doors. I refused. The caller sighed. "That's okay," it said. "We're already inside." At sunrise, the calls stopped. The building felt normal again. Management says the logs show no calls, no song, but every night the playlist still ends with a blank track that waits to be played. Story 4. The night train that never stopped. I take the same train every night after work. It leaves the city just after midnight and runs almost empty. Most nights there are only 3 or 4 passengers. The lights inside the train are always dim, not broken, just tired. I like that. It makes the ride feel shorter. One night I noticed something strange. We passed my usual stop. At first I thought I had dozed off. It happens sometimes after a long shift, but the next stop came and went too. The train didn't slow down. I stood up and walked toward the doors. The display above them showed no station names, just a blank line. I looked around. The other passengers were still seated, heads down, motionless. I asked the man closest to me if he knew what was happening. He didn't respond. He didn't even look up. When I reached the front of the train, I saw the driver's cabin. The door was open. There was no one inside. The controls were active, the speed steady, the track stretching endlessly into darkness. When I turned back, the passengers were standing now. All of them. They faced me. One of them spoke. His voice was calm. "This train only stops when everyone is asleep." I sat back down, closed my eyes. When I woke up, I was at my stop. The train was empty. Now, every night I stay awake on purpose because I don't want to find out where the train goes when no one wakes up. Story 5. The apartment with the extra hour. I live in a small apartment building in the city. Nothing special. 4 floors, thin walls. Every night I go to bed at the same time, 12:30. I always wake up once during the night. Around 3 a.m., that's when I notice the extra hour. My clock would say 2:15 every time. At first I thought it was broken, but my phone showed the same time. So did the microwave in the kitchen. 2:15 again. The world outside felt different during that hour. No cars, no distant sirens, no noise from neighbors. Even the air felt heavy. One night I stayed awake on purpose. I watched the clock slowly move from 2:14 to 2:15 and then stop. The silence became complete. That was when I heard movement in the hallway. Slow footsteps. Careful. Someone was walking between the apartments, pausing at each door, listening. When the footsteps reached my door, they stopped. Something stood there for a long time. I held my breath. Eventually, the footsteps moved on. The clock jumped forward. 3 a.m. The world came back to life. This happens every night now. I have learned the rule. During the extra hour, you must not make noise. You must not open your door. Last night, someone knocked. Softly. The clock still said 2:15. I didn't answer. This morning, there were scratches on my door. Deep ones. Tonight, I will stay very still, because I don't know how many nights I am allowed to ignore the knock.